Today we're talking about keeping chickens in Klamath Falls. Some of you have been paying attention and have heard my roosters crowing in the background and have sent me questions about having chickens in Klamath Falls, what it's like to have chickens, and what sort of information would I be willing to share about having chickens. Years ago, I had a terrible earwig problem at this house. We sprayed for earwigs, we had an exterminator over, and still we were finding earwigs in the house way too often, and it was really kind of gross. And I was sharing with one of my coworkers this story about having earwig problem, and she was like, I got you. Okay. And so I figured she was going to come back the next day or two with like a spray or a product that I was supposed to use. And one time I come into work and there's a box sitting on my desk, and I started to open the box, and there was chickens in it. There was like fluttering and like slam the box shut. It was hilarious. So I brought them home. Of course, I wasn't set up for chickens in any way, shape, or form. We kept them in a dog kennel for a while we got a setup built, and the rest is history. And I'm so guilty of chicken math. I started with 3. Right now I have 13. I've had as many as, I think 18 is the highest number I've ever had. But right now I have 3 roosters and 10 hens, and they're so fun. They have their own little personalities, and I love having chickens. So let's talk about having chickens. First of all, you need to know that most of Klamath County you can have chickens. There's HOAs that do not allow chickens in any way, shape, or form, but for the vast majority of Klamath Falls, even in the city, as long as you don't have roosters, you can keep chickens. The other thing that you need to know is you have to have a predator-proof setup. You can let your chickens free range a little bit. You're going to lose one now and again to a stray cat or dog. But if you don't have a predator-proof setup for them to roost in at night, you're going to lose them to skunks and raccoons, and a hungry skunk or raccoon will wipe out your entire flock in just a matter of minutes. So there's of course at Grange and coastal and places, they have setups that you can just buy and plop in your yard. Make sure that you set it up where there's a portion where they can't dig underneath it, because a skunk or a raccoon will dig underneath your coop if it's just dirt and get in there. So you're going to have to do something to shore up the foundation of that. And some of the setups actually have a floor where they sit up off the ground, and there's like some sort of like wire mesh at the bottom. But there's lots of options. There's all kinds of DIY plans out there to build your own coops out of scrap lumber and stuff. So lots of options there. So that's the most important thing that you need to know. And chickens are super easy keepers. Once mine were used to being in the coop, I would open the door in the morning, they would come out, I would feed them, give them some water, they would free range throughout the day. If you have a 4-foot fence, some breeds can circumvent that, so if you have problems with stray dogs and stray cats wandering around, they'll get out of a 4-foot fence. Some breeds will, some won't. But you definitely want to have your chickens in some sort of fence so they don't free range all over the place. And mine can fly. Some of mine can fly out of my 4-foot fence, and they'll go over to the neighbors and stuff. Fortunately, my neighbors are very kind. Most of my neighbors feed my chickens, so they go over there. But it is just and you don't have to let your chickens free range. If you don't want your chickens to free range, you can keep them in the coop all the time, and they'll be just fine. There's a lot of people that don't let their chickens free range because of hawks and cats and dogs, and they don't have a big enough yard to have them free range. So some people don't let them free range. But water, food, and a predator proof, and you're dialed in. So let's talk about the myths about chicken keeping and what some people have asked me and some people have found on the internet or whatever. The number one thing that I want you guys to know is they don't just poop in the coop at night. I've had a couple people tell me this must be on the internet somewhere, that they don't make a mess when they're out roaming around the yard. Absolutely, they do make a mess, and sometimes it's not pretty. And they're like geese. They go to the bathroom all the time. Just make sure you know that. The other thing is that there's certain breeds that don't work here, and this is true. There's certain, I've had Wyandottes and Australorps and Americanas and black sex lynx and copper Morans, and the only breeds that I have had trouble with are Silkies and Polish. And I think both because they have a bunch of feathers on their head, it must impede their vision to get away from predators. If a predator is stalking them, or something's coming in, they just don't have the peripheral vision or the sight or whatever, because they have feathers that hang in their face. And I've never had any luck with either one of them, although I love them both dearly. The Silkies were the sweetest, most fun. I loved them. I had one that used to sit, if I was out in the yard working, she would sit at the gate and squawk and fuss and carry on until I got her out, and then she would follow me around the yard. And then when I was done, I'd put her back and she was fine if I wasn't in the yard. But if I was out in the yard, she was having a whole fit right there. But something got her one day. I was really, really upset about it. But yeah, most breeds do pretty well here, but anything that they sell at Grange or Coastal will be a cold hardy breed, and it'll do well here. And there's certain breeds that are bred for other climates that wouldn't do well here. So be careful when you're shopping online for eggs if you decide to go that route, or for chicks, to make sure it's a cold hardy breed, because other than that, you're going to have problems. And the other thing is that if you don't supplement the light, they're not going to produce in the winter. The reason I don't supplement my light is because I had an old farmer tell me years ago that if you supplement their light and compel them to lay year round, it reduces their lifespan. And number one, my chicks are pets. My chickens are pets. I don't eat them. They die of natural causes here, and so I don't. They're pets that have benefits. So I don't supplement their light. November, December, January, I hardly get any eggs at all. But that's okay, because I stock up. I stopped giving away eggs like October, and I stock up on my eggs, and then I just use them because I don't wash my eggs either. We'll talk about that in a minute. I don't wash my eggs either, so they last a really long time. There's something on your eggs called bloom, which is, if you wash the bloom off, if you take water or a detergent or something and clean your eggs, you've got to put them in the refrigerator. If you don't wash them, if you take them right from the coop and put them on the shelf or in a basket or in an egg carton or whatever, they'll last for weeks. So just bear in mind, if you decide that there's a little mess on your egg and you want to wash it, you have to use it right away, or you have to put it in the refrigerator. If it's a clean egg, or if you don't care if there's a little bit of dirt on your eggs, just throw them in a carton or in a basket or whatever and just use them. Hope that they'll last for a really long time. And the last thing I want to tell you about chickens, there's a ton of information out there on raising chickens. There's the Backyard Chicken site I learned a ton of stuff from. There's websites exclusively dedicated to chickens. There's people that have their own, their chickens are basically celebrities, and they have their own Instagram pages and stuff. There's a ton of information out there. Lots of resources. And the people like at Grange and Coastal are very knowledgeable. But chickens, you can get super involved and give them special water and give them mealworms and special treats and all this stuff. But chickens are really easy. My chickens get food from the Grange. They get scrap. They love scraps. Mine will eat scraps. The only thing they don't like is potato peels, but like a watermelon rind, they will eat all the way down to the hard green outside of a watermelon. Almost everything I throw out there, they'll get to eventually. There's some things that they don't care for, like I said, potato peels they don't like. And of course, they love earwigs. They love that's chicken caviar, and I have not seen an earwig in my house one time since I got them. No, I think I take it back. I think I saw an earwig in the house once, but it's rare I even see them in the yard. Chickens love earwigs, and so my earwig problem was solved by Glenda. Thank you so much, Glenda, if you're watching. Thanks for joining me.